Welcome to Game Crunch, your weekly video game podcast. My name is Mike Anastasia. With me today, we have Brandon.
Hello,
We're here to talk about games and things.
games and things.
All right. What's on the agenda today? Virtual Boy, bunch of cool looking demos, Scritchy Scratchy, Vampire Crawlers, Outbound. All right. And then, I don't know, strange news. Ready to get into it?
Yep,
All right. Do you want me to go first or you want to go first?
I have a lot, so you go first.
Okay. Yeah, so I got to play the actual proper like NSO Virtual Boy this week since that released after we talked last time. Yeah, such a nostalgia trip. This is so enjoyable. I really actually like it. I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for like exact specifics in terms of how well the emulation is. But to me, it is like flawless. So even some of like the skips and kind of like the images or like sound like identical, like it's like just like playing the thing, my real Virtual Boy that I have in the other room. It's like perfect. Yeah, it plays really nice. I have had a great time with it. I played probably, I think, a quarter of Wario Land, which I still think that is easily the best Virtual Boy game, but honestly it's probably one of the best Wario Land games. I really enjoy that game a lot.
Okay.
It's a real treasure on that system, so hopefully more people get to enjoy it. And then I dabbled a bit with some of the other games that were there, like Galactic Pinball. I always liked that one. I don't love pinball games very much because I'm really bad at them, but being able to use some of the Virtual Boy like features like rewind play and things like that do make it a little bit more forgiving for me, so that's fine. I enjoy that. I tried a little bit of Telro Boxer, which is kind of like Punch Out, basically.
But
Actually,
it's a robot, right? It's like Rock'em Sock'em Robots. That one?
yes, that is the one. So very much like that. But yeah, it's kind of that same. Plays very similarly to Punch Out, where you're kind of behind the shoulder view of your robot, and you're kind of
Mhm.
doing these different punches and blocks and trying to find what their like weak point is, kind of through their tells.
Yeah.
So that all plays really well. I played a bit of Red Alarm, which I think is probably one of the reasons that Virtual Boy did so poorly.
Hmm.
I mean, I think it's fun. It's like a space shooter, but it just uses wireframe, and I think that really gave the impression to a lot of people that the system was underpowered. Which I mean, it's like a 32-bit system. It's not like it's gonna do anything wild on its own, but it does do like 3D in that degree, and it seemed to work decently. But it's like kind of the same jankiness as like Star Fox from the Super Nintendo, like the first one.
Yeah.
So mileage definitely varied there. It's a game that always frustrated me a lot when I played it before. So there's that. The last game that I tried out a bit was a Japanese exclusive one. So that was one I had never played before. Let me see what it's called because I can never remember. Innsmouth no Yakata.
Gesundheit.
I think that was the one that was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah, that's got to be the one. I know it's a weird name, but it's kind of like a labyrinth game mixed with like a shooter, kind of. In some
Okay.
ways, it kind of plays like Killer 7 did when you're in the hallways and you kind of just move like little bits and pieces forward and then kind of stop.
I got it.
Um,
I understand what you're
yeah,
saying.
it is strange. I played like a couple different levels of it. It's kind of advanced. It looks like it has multiple different endings. Um, not the most enjoyable Virtual Boy game that I've ever played, but
Mm.
it worked. So, but I want to go back and through and try it again because I just have so little experience with it. So yeah, so those are the ones that I had tried that were there. I do actually really miss the Virtual Boy controller. I mean, it does play well with the Joy Cons. You do have to use the Joy Cons. Like I tried to use the Pro controller and it was like, hell no. I'm not even going to
Oh.
connect while you have this app open, which I'm like, why? I don't get it, but that's just how it is. So there's that. Also, pro tip for people that have Virtual Boy and maybe not have figured this out. It is if you want to use the Virtual Boy, if you have like the real kind of stand, and you want to use it in a position that's not leaning over a table. Uh, what I used to do when I had it growing up, and I tested it again just the other day, is if you turn the stand on backwards and kind of prop the head up, you can actually prop it against your chest and kind of have it while you're laying back and just kind of have it basically lean against your head that way. It's very comfortable to do that, like laying on a couch, and that's kind of how I played most of Wario Land when I was playing. So something that can kind of help with that side of things too. If you have the cardboard Virtual Boy, then you don't have that issue. That's probably one of the more preferable ways to play, anyways, kind of laying back on there. But yeah, I'm very happy with kind of the things that are here. And we're supposed to get a good chunk of the Virtual Boy games. There's only a couple that aren't at least announced for release.
Mm-hmm.
So I think only one first party game is not announced for release either, and that is Nestor's Funky Bowling for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a licensing thing.
That's weird.
Or yeah, it is very strange, especially considering it was like the mascot for Nintendo Power. So, but maybe it, like I said, maybe it's a licensing thing. Maybe that's maybe there's more to that backstory than meets the eye. But there's that. I did not try 3D Tetris, but actually that game's really enjoyable. If you do play the Virtual Boy, that one is available now. That one's good. Golf is also there too. And I'm sure longtime listeners know I don't really like golf games, but I have played that game before, and it's golf. Like, I don't know how else to describe it other than it plays like your typical golf game. That's fine. Other than that, but I do wish it would be kind of nice if someday down the road they did like I would totally buy a Virtual Boy like controller for this. It's one of Nintendo's stranger controllers, but it's so comfortable. But Joy-Cons work fine. So if you have that, do you have any questions on Virtual Boy stuff? I know I
Did
talked
you
about the systems
see
that last week.
where they're gonna have it where you can change colors?
Yes, that was kind of announced, I think, right before release when they had done some things.
Yeah, so I
Mhm.
actually might try it because of the fact that it won't just be eye-searing red in the future. So I'm just kind of waiting for that to happen, and I might give it a go.
That's fair. Um, I wish they would almost do like a Super Game Boy kind of thing where they would do like, limited color palettes,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like they did, where it's like, okay, well, we'll kind of color Wario this way and kind of do those things. You don't have to do anything too fancy. You can still keep it like 8-bit coloring, but give it a little spice. I
Yeah.
we'll see. I doubt they'll get that fancy with it because that's a lot more work trying to figure out, what colors are what. Or even if they did it where you could do it like Super Game Boy. Did you ever have a Super Game Boy?
I did.
Okay, you may remember this. Super Game Boy also kind of gave you the ability to do like custom palettes too,
Mm-hmm.
where it was like, okay, well these are the 4 colors that the Game Boy used. You can change them to whatever you want. That would be really cool, even if they did something like that. So at least you can kind of color code them closer to what you would expect the game to be in. Um, but yeah, that honestly, I'm very happy with this. I honestly do not know if they could have done this in a more like in a way that would have been better to give that like original experience with the Virtual Boy, because that's, like I said, honestly how it feels playing it. It feels like I'm playing the Virtual Boy, like the real one, and that feels great. I'm very happy with that. So granted, the price of entry for like the actual like plastic shell, kind of expensive, but Virtual Boy is great. I love it, and it's just this is a very niche thing. And some people like longtime Nintendo fans will probably get a kick out of it because a lot of them never had the opportunity to experience this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I'm happy it's there, and like I said, I'm just thrilled that I can go through and play a lot of these things again. Do you have any other questions?
Nope, not
Okay.
at all for that one.
Yeah. In terms of other things that I played, a couple of things that they're not like big talking points, but I'll just kind of throw them out there. I did play Donkey Kong Bonanza had a new event this week. That was
Nice.
fun. It was kind of ostrich themed. You were in like that jungle level. Um, it was the way that they did it was really clever with like the bonanzas. It's like each of these kind of has like a secret answer. Or like, hey, this is what you should be focusing on, which I think is pretty cool. It kind of makes it like almost like trying to solve a puzzle in terms of what works and what doesn't. So that was fun. I like that. Xenoblade Chronicles X had a patch this week. Digital Foundry called it the worst like Switch 2 upgrade that's
Yeah,
released thus far. It's weird, honestly. There's something weird about it.
someone
Uh,
showed me the way it works, and oh my god, is it awful?
There are, so to be fair, there are some things that are nice with it. Like it does run very smoothly. It does run like 60 frames a second. But like
That's
I have more
fantastic.
pop in now than I did before.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's like it's not like you know how generally pop in is kind of like in layers where it's like, okay, well, here's the mountain shape, and then you get closer and like here's some like dense mountain textures, and you get closer and be like, oh, here's some fine mountain textures.
Hmm.
um it's like you get the textures sooner, so like you see a lot more image quality there. So kind of there's definitely points where like if you're like there's one point where I was in a scow and kind of hovering over the water and looking out in the mountains and not moving, and I'm like, this looks pretty nice. There's that. But once you start moving, then it starts to go to shit because things are like popping in and out the tech, and it's like it's not like you're getting different layers of textures, you're kind of getting different blends of textures as it pops in and out. It's very strange. I mean, I think if you got it, like it's not going to like it's still playable. Like there's some things that are nice, but it's not the ideal way to play it. So I know at least from what I've been reading online with people, if you're gonna play on TV, the upgrade actually is reasonable. If you're playing on handheld, don't bother. That's
So,
basically what people
so
have
you
said.
mentioned what you're saying right now about the top pop in and everything. I
Mm-hmm.
actually saw something that was even more egregious.
Uh-huh.
Um, and my buddy showed me how the like world is supposed to look versus how it looks due to their upscaling tech, and
Mm-hmm.
it like stretched parts of the geometry in ways that aren't correct and have kind of ruined some of the actual like cohesiveness of the map because they just like made it fair. They like just grabbed it, and it's like when you grab like an image and then you stretch it to the side to like
Mm-hmm.
extend out the image so it fits into like a square or something, and then it doesn't keep its dimensions to make it like the appropriate kind of stretching, and instead it just looks like someone just was like, okay, fill to box, and it looks like that's how they ended up doing the upscaling in a lot of places, which ruins some of the actual like art direction and like the way things are because it makes things look like very unnatural. And I saw like a direct image comparison of like, here's what it's supposed to look like, here's what it looks like. And actually, let me see if I can find it again because my friend sent it to me and I could send it to you too. It's
Yeah,
it's pretty bad, like really bad.
I didn't see that, but I'm not surprised. Some of the
Oh,
stuff that
oh
I see
yeah, I
people
got it.
nitpicking, I'm just like, this is not a thing.
This
But that's
doesn't
not a
feel like a nitpick. This
no. I'm
feels
not
like
saying that's a nitpick. I'm saying, but I've seen some people nitpick some weird things, and I'm just like, okay, well, that's not a big deal. But so
so like
there
it made the
definitely are some issues
terrain
with it.
like fatter to like feel the whole like screen, that sort of deal, and it doesn't like like say keep the same kind of like shape and feel. So like whereas like the
Oh,
actual, yeah, you see what I'm
there no,
saying?
well, no, I do, but there's something weird about this picture because I remember reading about this because I have seen this picture.
Hmm.
And I if I recall correctly, and I'm not positive, this picture specifically was taken from not gameplay, it was from a movie. And if you
Ah,
went to the same place like where this is going on, it doesn't look that bad.
so it's
But it
just them
was
stretching the video footage and hooking
yes.
up then, and not
Yes.
specifically
Mhm.
the game itself. Okay, that's still
Yeah, not
fucked
to say that
because
the
then
game
that
doesn't
messes
look
up the
bad
video.
otherwise, but yeah, that one specifically was that specific example you showed was a video example. But there
Yeah, that
definitely are
sucks.
some really fucking weird textures, for sure. Like, and
I
there's
would say
no or way around that.
it's less
Mhm.
egregious, but also if it's a video, but also that still sucks because that means they even fuck the cutscenes up with their
Yeah, mhm.
upscaling, which is a mess.
Yeah. This whole thing is a mess from top to bottom.
So yeah,
Um, yeah, I imagine that they will go through and fix it at some point because it sounds
yeah,
like people are getting really pissed at it. How long it's going to take, or if they're just going to ignore it for a while, that I don't know.
yeah.
But it is very strange. I mean, I was really happy to see it. Like, I think the Xenoblade games, out of like anything, really would benefit the most from these. Although honestly, X is not the one I think needs it the most. Like two really desperately needs it. It is like horrendous to even look at on the
So
Switch.
according to what some people found was this was just run through an AI upscaling filter for a lot of this game, and it's not like the normal filter like DLSS or FSR. It's like just a dog shit normal like garbage filter like they would use for like Gen AI upscaling, and a lot of people were complaining about it because of that. So great job, Nintendo.
Honestly, I didn't even hear that they gave it that much credit. I just heard crappy upscaler like you would see on your just run of the mill phone, where it's trying to like if you zoom too far in the pixels and it tries to like imagine what's there. Um, yeah, but it is a mess. And don't save your money or don't spend your money on this. Save it. You will
Yeah, I'm glad
appreciate
I
it
looked
one day.
into it because I almost bought this.
Yeah, and well, especially too, because I think when you were texting me, it was when it was just announced. I don't even think it was like available to download yet
Yep.
at that point. And then as I saw it a little bit later, I was like,
Yeah, I
so
waited. I waited and
yeah,
didn't buy it, which is great
yeah,
because I avoided a landmine apparently.
yeah. It seems so. Um, was there anything? The only other thing that I really had Switch wise, and actually I was going to talk about this last week.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really like gameplay related. It's just kind of more, just kind of topical. But I have already started to hit the mass fridge exodus on the Switch 2, and I hit it much faster than I thought I would.
Ah,
Um, and what I mean by that was I had a terabyte card in my Switch 2, and I'd carried over most of my, like all my Switch 1 games, really. And I expected that, it'd be kind of like, over time, I'd start to whittle out third party games and get to a point where it'd be like, hey, here's the first party Switch games, and here's the, my favorite, third party Switch games, and then,
mm-hmm.
here's all my Switch 2 stuff, and they kind of live in happy harmony. Well, no, that didn't work. That didn't last for very long. We're already like culling some of the bigger things. So, yeah, I've already just started kind of like, I'm like, oh, I need space for this. Like the Resident Evil games that are waiting on my system right now, that's like
Mm-hmm.
60 gigs altogether because they're like 20 something gigs a piece.
Did you see
Cyberpunk
how?
that's taking 60.
Did you see how many gigs the Final Fantasy Rebirth is?
It's disgusting. I don't even remember what the number was. I just remember it was a lot.
So Rebirth, which is coming out in June, is 110 gigs.
Yeah, wild. Um,
Actually insane. You need a whole nother Switch too, just for your copy of Final Fantasy Rebirth.
yeah, pretty much. Or that's your only game, pretty much.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, no, it's a lot. So I've started going through, and I've gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm like first party games that I'm like, what games am I less likely to play again? So I've kind of started to set up new rules now, where I'm like, okay, the higher the gigabyte size, you're more primed to go, obviously, because that's you're gonna get the most benefit from that.
Yeah.
Generally, my kind of mind is like, if it's 2 gigs or less, it's probably fine for now. Like I'm not too worried about those ones. And then, I prefer like keeping first party versus third party, but I've gotten to the point where like the third party games that are left on my system are the ones that either I want to play or I
Yeah.
really enjoy. So now we're starting to call first party games. So I was like, Splatoon 2, bye. Like, what are the odds of me playing that anytime soon? Like zero. And especially considering Splatoon 3 that has a
Mhm.
Switch 2 upgrade. So and I'm not getting rid of anything that's Switch 2 upgrades even. So Switch 2 stuff is staying for now. Switch 1 stuff without upgrades going. Um, so Splatoon 2, buy. Another code like collection, buy. What else did I just get rid of? Mario and Luigi Brotherhood, buy. I'm like, I'm like, the odds of me ever playing this game again are very slim.
Isn't it
And
Brothership?
yeah, don't speak of that game.
Okay.
I really, I mean, it was not bad. I just was not a fan. It was too fucking long. Like honestly, there's very few times where I complain about a game being too long, and that game was really too fucking long. It outstayed its welcome so many hours and so many plot points. It just needed a fucking end. And every time I think about that game, like that's my thing. I'm just like, I'm never gonna want to go through like these hours of section again. Um, yeah, so that's gone. But I'm also like too, the Switch 2 has better Wi-Fi, so if I do need to re-download stuff, it's really not as much of a
Yeah,
hassle. It's just
it's so fast, so it's like
yeah.
whatever.
I just like having as much stuff available at any time as I can. Because there are days where I wake up and I'm like, I don't know the fuck I want to play it, but I just want something to play. So the more stuff that's there, the better. So that's kind of where that is. But yeah, so I got rid of that. I've already started to earmark other things too, like Fire Emblem Engage. That one is like probably the next one on the list if it's something's got to go. which it will, because I think I did free up enough space for all the Resident Evil games, but then like Pocopia is coming out in like a week and all
Yep.
this other stuff. So yeah, just kind of getting those things whittled down. But yeah, it's been my fun lately. I do hope that they release a bigger size card at some point, but with all of the bullshit that's going on with AI, like that's not a priority for them. So because all of those memory resources are, I don't know, already claimed for the year apparently, is what I had read today or
Mm.
yesterday. So like apparently, like if you want a new hard drive, like for example, it's gotta be something that's already been ordered, because everything that you order from like the factories right now, they're already past this year. And I'm like,
Oh yeah,
that's
they're into
wild.
2027 already. Yeah.
Yeah, wild. Um,
Oh, you
and
think
that's gonna
that's bad? RAM is up to 2031.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're already seeing the effects of that in next gen. I mean, rumors are Sony's already looking at delaying their intended launch time for their system. What is it? The Steam console? That sounds like that's kind of in a weird place right now because they're
It's
not
pretty
sure what
much
they can
dead.
get pricing wise. Yeah,
Hmm.
especially if they're going for PC pricing as opposed to console pricing. DOA. Um, yeah. So, yeah. So that's it. But I think that's all I got right now. I'm sure I'll probably think of something else wise, but yeah, that's it. Um, all right, what you been playing?
So I've played a few things. Most of these
Mm-hmm.
are demos because Steam Next Fest just started, and some demos that I really wanted to play are actually out now. So the first one that I tried, which was called Outbound.
Okay.
Outbound is a survival crafting game, but it's more cozy than it is like, stressful. And what it is you have a little minivan, and you can build a home on top of said van. And as you like ride around, you may have like a little tiny home on top of your van, and inside your van, you can like put things like uh, a refiner, so like you can take trash that you get off the ground and refine it into these tickets that allow you to make blueprints, which allow you to make more things. You can make a little house, put it on top of your van, and drive around with it. It's pretty neat. It's a very easy, very chill game. I played it with my friend. We absolutely broke this game. We destroyed this game. I think we probably single-handedly set this game's development time back a year, because we absolutely demolished this game. We broke it in ways that I don't think people were thinking of doing so when the game was being developed. We found a way to take like um, the parts that are built on top of our van and
Uh-huh.
move them to like going out further and further and further, and then take those parts that we'd already built from the beginning spot and move them while standing on the one spot that we built out really far. So I have a few examples that I'll show you of this. Um, Basically, what we did was we built a floating home in front of our van.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna show you that. So I've sent you some pictures. So yeah, we decided to build our house in front of our van, and it definitely shouldn't work that way. And we used it to build like like stairways to heaven so that we could get into the skybox of the game,
Uh-huh.
and and try to no clip out of the like the demo area of the game and everything. And we couldn't clip out of the area. I did one time, but I got stuck and I couldn't go further or anything. And yeah, essentially we just got like really cool pictures because we built like a lookout deck in the sky that was attached to our van, but it was not actually attached because we just built sky ladders to go up and up and up and up and swapped out the ladder from the beginning all the way to the end repeatedly so that we could get into the sky and like overlook everything. It was really cool. It was really funny. Um it was an absolute mess. I've sent you more images of it now so you can see it.
It's a really cute looking game.
It is. It's a very fun and like, It's just chill. It's just a very chill game. We absolutely destroyed it though. Like there's no other way to say. So essentially, the way the game is supposed to work is you start with your van and you drive around to spots and you learn new things from the like computers and stuff that are located around, which allow you to build more things and make like a little home on top of your van, that you and like other people can live in, that sort of deal. um, that's not what we did. We didn't do that. We I'm gonna actually show you what the game is supposed to have, so you can
Hmm.
like better understand as well. So like, yeah, you should be able to like build a little house like the one I just showed you, and have it on top of your van as you drive around and explore the world with your friends, because this is a 4-player co-op game, as well as like your animal companions that you end up adopting and bringing on the journey with you. And it's just a nice chill game where you're exploring different areas and meeting new animals, companions, and bringing them along with you, and finding a way to automate life and just build a really cool little house for you and some friends to hang out and chill with. And it's neat, and it was really fun. And
Yeah.
I actually quite like it because it's a very chill, like low stakes. I mean, pretty much no stakes game. Only time I died was when I found out when I was testing to find out if I could die, and that was because I put myself into the literal sky and then jumped from the heavens. So,
Yeah, I mean, it
yeah,
looks really fun. It looks really cute.
it is. It's very cute. It's just a very chill and enjoyable game to play, and I
Yeah.
like the idea of it, and I think it's gonna be cool when it actually releases. But the way I played it was absolutely not its intended way. But I had an absolute blast playing it. So yeah, I do recommend checking out Outbound whenever it does release, because it is a neat idea having like a traveling home,
Yeah.
and I like the way it works.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's great.
After that, I played a game that we actually gave one of our most look forward to games for this year, which is Vampire Crawlers, the spinoff of Vampire Survivors. I got to actually play it this week, and oh boy, I played like 5 hours of it because it's really good, like
Yeah.
really good. So there are this is the kind of game that, much like Vampire Survivors, is very simplistic, but as you continue on, it gets more and more complicated.
Hmm.
So when you start out, you're on your way to the hub world, and in the hub world, you essentially can go to shops, upgrade your items and stuff like you can in normal Vampire Survivors.
Hmm.
But in this one, when you buy characters, they give you like cards or like certain abilities to work with the cards. So, for instance, one person might give you the ability to like ricochet a card back, where like when you play a card, it will come back to your hand instead of being fully played. So you can combo off of that. And the way the combo system works in this game is you can play cards like a 0, a 1, and a 2. And if you have the mana to do that, so you need 3 mana to be able to do that, you do like a 0, which would be a knife, so you attack with a knife. You do like a 1, which would be garlic, so you knock back the enemies that you're fighting, and the enemies inch towards you every single turn. And I believe they have like 4 levels. So like they're in the very back at the beginning. You get to play your cards after you've played all of your mana. Then they move forward 1 row, and then so on and so forth until they're right up next to you, and then they do their attacks. But if you have cards that allow you to knock them back, then you can knock them back, which gives you more time to combo more items together and do more damage to be able to defeat them, essentially. And you have to go and fight all the enemies by traveling through this like first person dungeon, which is themed after each one of the maps from normal Vampire Survivors. And in this first person dungeon, you'll find things like the fire pillars that you can break and get like wall chicken and stuff like that, which will give you more health back and stuff. just as, again, like normal Vampire Survivors. But they found a way to bring things into this game as a card game, as a card battler that
Yeah.
works. So, for instance, um, the the duplications ability that they have, that ring, instead of duplicating like your turn, it'll duplicate your entire fight. So, like, if you play a duplication ring, it will duplicate every card you are using in this series of fights. But after you're done with these fights and you clear these fights and go on to the next set of fights, then you no longer have that. But if you get a card that allows you to keep playing that card repeatedly, then you can continuously combo things in a way that it kind of makes it so the enemy doesn't get a turn and you beat them that way.
Okay.
And it's really fun to be able to figure out how to break the game like that. And it's just a really enjoyable game. I think this game's really fun, like really really fun. And the there's a gym system where as you like defeat stronger enemies, and you level up, you'll have the ability to socket gems into your cards if your cards have a gem socket. And some of the things that you could socket into the gems is things like do double damage. I already talked about the like boomerang ability, which makes it so once you play a card once, you can play it a second time, and it doesn't instantly leave your hand. So there's that one. There's ones that give you more like spread out the damage to more enemies. There's ones
Mhm.
that will add knockback, and there's some that will do things like give you, shield or whatever whenever you play a card, or they'll do something similar to. Oh god, there was one that was like they'll do different kinds of damage based on what things are socketed into them, essentially.
Okay.
And it's really fun to go through each one of the floors and see the enemies get progressively harder, and also see yourself get stronger with your deck that you're building each time you go on a run. And
Mhm.
honestly, I had an absolute blast even just playing the demo. It is really fun, and I really look forward to seeing how they end up like making the full game, because even the 5 hours I put into the demo, uh, it felt like a full game already. Like something you would get in like early access, but it felt like a full game. Like it had enough here that I was like, okay, I see what you're doing, and you've still got more stuff for me to do after I've already beaten the stages that I've beaten. So this is cool. And supposedly the demo content will carry over to the main game. So that's also awesome.
Yeah. That's great. I am really excited to see or try out that game.
It's awesome. It is
Yeah, it looks
so
great.
fun.
So that's good.
Yep.
When does it come out? Does it have a release date yet?
It still does not have a release date, and I don't know if that's good or bad. Uh, they probably are just trying to figure out like when they want to release it, which is fine. But there is no release date. Even after you beat it, doesn't give you a release date. It just tells you to wish list it. So yeah, womp womp.
Okay.
And then I'll talk about this last game that I ended up playing, which was really neat. It was called Scritchy Scratchy. It's another demo in the Steam Next Fest. And the way this demo works is it is a idle game, but not really.
Okay.
So idle games, you want to automate everything so that you can do certain things and, get better and better and be able to do things more efficiently. So when you first start out this game, you're playing as a dishwasher. You wash dishes and it gives you money. And then after you've washed enough dishes and leveled up your dishwashing day job, you'll get a phone call that essentially tells you, hey, why not buy some scratch tickets?
Why not?
And then you have the option to buy $10 scratch tickets. So as you level up your dishwashing day job, you get paid more for the dishwashing day job. Then you can take the money that you make from your day job and pump it into scratch tickets. And you can make more money from doing the scratch tickets or less, depending on how good your luck is. But you can actually level up your luck. You can level up, the ability to scratch faster. You can eventually buy things like an auto scratcher where you just push tickets into a machine and it scratches them for you. And it's a really silly idle game that I ended up spending like 3 hours in without even noticing it. Eventually, you'll get to like millions and billions of dollars from doing all of this. And when I say eventually, I mean like within an hour, maybe. So
Uh-huh.
I've had like 3 runs of this, and on your once you've bought all the tickets that are in like the row, there is another ticket that's like the final ticket, but you will scratch it and you'll lose everything and you'll die of a heart
Okay.
attack essentially because you've just lost your billions of dollars and you have a heart attack and fucking die. This is how you reset your game, and then you take your points that you got from hitting the jackpots that run and pump them into a skill tree, which then allows you to have some form of meta progression that allows you to start the game over and make more money, get better stuff, and get more money by doing scratching or by doing your day job. And it's really funny. It's a really like it's a really fun turn your brain off idler that is very well made, and I like what it's doing. And that's essentially all I have to say about that game. Because it's kind of one of those things where it's like what you see is what you get, but there's a lot more to it. But at the same time, it is still just an idle game. So,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
And the last thing I did was it was my birthday this week, so I normally play a Halo game with some of my friends in co-op every year when that
Uh-huh.
comes around, and I played through Halo 3 on Legendary with a bunch of my friends. And we almost finished the entire game in one sitting in like
Okay.
4 hours. But we had to head to bed. We had to get off for the night. But Halo 3 is still such a good game. Like legitimately sitting down and playing that game with a bunch of buddies was so much fun. It was actually a blast to play. And if you have the Master Chief Collection and you have a group of friends that have played Halo, and you have in the past, I highly recommend going back and playing it again because it's still really fun and those games actually aged very well. Especially like the actual world, the world and the like world building is really good, and so is the design of the maps. It's just the character models that look absolutely fucking atrocious.
Yeah.
But it's so fun. It's so much fun. So, yeah, there we go. That is
Okay.
what I did.
All right. Ready to get into news?
Yes.
The news? The
Mm-hmm.
news.
News.
I don't know. Well, I'll start with your Pokemon Leaf Green and Fire Red were real, and they were
Yep.
announced this
Yep.
week. And I totally nailed the price point, like
You did.
spot on. $20. That's what it is. Um, so that's coming out. They put it out for pre-release. I'm guessing because they didn't want to crash the servers on Pokemon Day.
I think it
Uh,
was a mistake because people saw it online on social media, right? Because I actually, before you sent that message about
mhm.
Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, I tend to doom scroll Twitter a lot,
Uh-huh.
and I had saw people on there being like, "Nintendo's got to be fucking kidding me," and they were posting pictures of where they found Fire Red and Leaf Green on the eShop, and there was no announcement at the time when these people had found it. And then, like maybe an hour later, after that thing hit like 100,000 like likes and views and shit, uh, then Nintendo announced Fire Red and Leaf Green. So a lot of people assumed, myself included, that that wasn't supposed to be on the eShop that early, and Nintendo did a little fucky wucky, and so they had to come forward and announce it because they did announce it also at like a random time at like fucking 9 p.m. or some shit, just
Oh no, it was
randomly.
later than that.
Okay,
Yeah, and that's the reason why I think because Nintendo's media team is not going to be sitting around at midnight to like post something. So like they had to have probably had an idea. The timing makes a lot more sense if you keep in mind that it would have been like daytime in Japan. Um and almost exactly to the like 1 week from the Pokemon Presents. So I mean, yeah, it could have been a fuck up. I honestly, especially considering it's already number one on the eShop, I'm guessing they probably did it to space it out so like people wouldn't watch the Pokemon Presents and instantly crash the eShop with everything else going on. Um, because I imagine that that's probably not going to be the only announcement of the day.
Hmm.
And then you also have other things coming around at the same time too, like what is it, Resident Evil's like around that time. You have Pokopia, those pre-releases should open up around that time as well.
Hmm.
And then who knows whatever the fuck else they'll announce there at that time. It would not be surprised if they like also dropped like maybe some of the GameCube Pokemon games. Who knows? But it was just kind of strange. There are some other weird things with this too. Like it sounds like it's going to have home support, but they removed that from the eShop page. It is going to have the wireless features kind of fixed in this, so you'll be able to like trade and battle wirelessly with the game. So that's kind of cool. Um, I mean, do I think it's a $20 game? No, and you can definitely get a lot of great stuff for $20. That's new, and you probably haven't played it a million times. Also, another strange thing about this too is each version language is a different download, which is
Yeah, I
very
saw
cool.
that. That was odd.
Yeah. Um, I did see some people on Reddit like, well, they should just make it so if you buy one, you get all languages. But that also opens up like a strange black hole for Nintendo because of the virtual game sharing, because it's per game, and each of those would be an individual listing. So it's like if they did do that, you'd be able to download like different versions and just be like, all right, Brandon, you want to play the German version? Here you go, enjoy. Um, and it's like you may not be able to read it, but at the same time, like I also played the games to death. Like I really don't need to read very much that's on the screen. I think the biggest things would be like maybe for HMs, just so you kind of know what they are. But even then,
Hmm.
that's an easy translate thing. It's not too hard to figure out. There's there. I also had someone else on Reddit say to me too. They were like, kind of back to what I was saying the week before. They're like, "Oh, Nintendo's leaving so much money on the table by not putting this up on NSO." No, you're not going to get like a shit ton of NSO subscriptions for this game. You think if you think $20 one-time purchase is hard to swallow, you think people are going to pay $50 a year for these fucking games? You're nuts. And also too, a lot of people, I feel like the audience that are really most into Pokemon probably already have NSO. Like they're either getting it for the other Pokemon games or they need it for like online for things like, Scarlet and Violet or Pokemon ZA. So I don't think that it would be that huge of a like an uptick there. Then someone else was like, but every time Nintendo makes upgrades to NSO, they increase the price. So maybe they would just increase the price. Also not true. NSO is the same price it was when it came out, and then they did the expansion pass with extra stuff, and that's been the same prices since it's been out. And they actually, if you think about it, they added a shit ton of stuff in the last year, and there's been no price increase. If they were going to do something, they would probably have to do like a Pokemon expansion pass. But even then, like, how much are you going to pay for just Fire Red and Leaf Green? Like, $10 a year? That's not even worth that. So I don't know. I figured this is how they would do it. It makes the most sense, and it makes the most sense on return investment. They're going to make like billions of dollars. That's sarcastic, but definitely millions of dollars off of this. So that is easy money there. Um, so I don't know. That will be available next week, so we should be able to talk about that next time we're here. What else is on here? Otherwise, on the Doom news, Sony closed Bluepoint, the famous studio.
No.
I know that was horrible, especially too because they really did not. I saw this and I didn't look more into it. Since Sony purchased them, did they put out a single game?
Yes.
Which game?
Demon Souls remaster.
I think that was before Sony purchased them.
I thought they purchased them before the PS5.
I thought they purchased them after Demon Souls.
Uh,
When did Sony
didn't so.
purchase Bluepoint? Not interested, Google.
Oh, you're right. Nope, you're right.
So they literally put out exactly 0 games from this purchase and then closed
Yep.
the studio.
Yep. So they bought them just to close them.
Yeah. And they were doing very well on their own
before Sony purchased them.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that honestly, that alone is a huge fuck up. Like you have a very successful studio that's offering you great support, and you're like, let's make them work on something that's totally out of line for them. And oh, no, didn't make what we wanted. Goodbye. Yeah, that is very poor planning on that part. I don't have anything good about this to say. I mean, most of the time we have studio closures. you don't have anything good to say. But there's really no bright spot to this. This is just really poor.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's that. On the Xbox side of things,
Well, hold
Phil
on, hold on,
Spencer's
hold
got.
on, hold on, hold on,
Okay,
hold on,
okay,
hold
okay.
on. We can't just glance over this. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. Like we want to go straight over, but we have to talk about this for a second, right?
Hmm.
If Microsoft wasn't such a colossal fuck up,
Mm-hmm.
Sony would be the worst company this generation.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
Sony's
because
not doing great.
they have shuttered like more companies. They have shut down 21 plus games that no one wanted in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all games that they thought that people wanted and they started making and then went, "Oh shit, no one wants these, better shut them down." Hey, you know what? Also the companies that we bought to make these games, we changed our mind. We don't want you either. So they're like throwing the fucking baby out with the bathwater every single time they shut down a company because they shut them down because their own dumbass fucking decision that they made to get into live service games when the live service games aren't doing shit for them.
Yep.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Sony has been absolutely brain dead this generation. And this
Oh
is
yeah.
easily the worst PlayStation generation we have ever had.
Oh yeah. That's not even like you can't even debate it.
It's not debatable. It's non-debatable. It's just not. You
Yeah.
just can't.
And I think a lot of it is I don't know what their decision making is on this thing, but it's like even if you think about like all the poor decisions that they made this generation,
Mm-hmm.
they've also walked away from pretty much every single franchise that they have.
Mm-hmm.
There's like very few of them have had sequels or like meaningful developments over this generation. I
Mm-hmm.
think the exception would be God of War, really, because it's that, and even that you could kind of shimmy into last gen,
No, that's last
considering
gen.
it's
I'm not counting it. I'm
yeah.
literally not counting it because if we were going to do that, then I would have to say, what about Horizon Forbidden West? And then I would have to say,
No, I
what
wasn't gonna
about
give it
Ghost of
Horizon.
Yotei?
I wasn't gonna
I'm
give it
not going.
Horizon. I was gonna give it God of War, but yeah, no, yeah, they really just kind of mishandled everything. Think about it. Uncharted, we haven't had one of those in a
Nope.
long time. That was a really big franchise for them. It even made its way to movies. That would have been a great opportunity to kind of build more, but nope, none of that.
I think it's
Uh,
easier to think of what we have had this generation from PlayStation.
Ratchet
So
and
let's
Clank.
see. We had Ratchet and Clank, which is actually a really good fucking game.
Yeah.
We had Team Osabi's Astrobot, also
Mm-hmm.
really good fucking game.
Mm-hmm.
We had Ghost of Yotei now.
Mm-hmm.
That was there. We had Death Stranding 2. We had I'm trying to think of like PS5 specific games. Spider-Man 2 and then nothing. Literally, I can't think of anything else that we got for PS5. I guess you could probably say the Demon Souls remake, but apparently Sony didn't even give a shit about that and decided to shut down the studio. So,
I mean, there was Concord,
PS5
right? That was great.
exclusives. Let's see. All PS5 exclusives not on PS4. Destruction All Stars. Who cares? Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Not really exclusive anymore.
Nope, not
Quantum
anymore.
Error. Dog shit. Scam of a game. Um. Uh. Rise of Ronin was. It was good, but not really anything special. Stellar
Mm-hmm.
Blade, which I think is being ported to more things now. I guess Silent Hill F? Silent Hill F? We had that. Or did we? Is Silent Hill F on anything else?
I don't believe so. Although I don't even know if I would give that to Sony, considering it's it was made by third party. They just lucked out into it because it was
Yeah. So when it comes to Sony games, we have nothing.
yeah.
We have nothing. This
The
has
output
been
from first party
such
studios has been
a
abysmal.
dog shit
Mm-hmm.
generation for Sony to the point where I actually have a list of all PlayStation 5 only games. Astrobot, Code Violet, which is a scam. Demon Souls, which they just shut down the company. Destruction All Stars, which lasted 1 week. Ghost of Yote, which is okay. Sons of Sparta, which just released, and it doesn't seem like it's getting the reception it wants. Intergalactic, which isn't out yet. Marvel's Wolverine, which just had its release date announced for September 15th. Wanted to scoot that one in there.
Mm-hmm.
Saros, which looks really good, to be completely honest.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not out yet. Silent Hill, The Short Message, which is not very good. And, like, what? I can't list anything else. I've listed games that are specifically to PS5, which, granted, I'm not one who gives a shit about exclusives, but if Sony wants to be like, hey, we're the exclusive console, we take our exclusives seriously, you've put out like 3!
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You've done nothing!
No, it's like absolutely just squandering all of their resources. Like it's like, I don't know, borderline malicious. It's like they're self-sabotaging like Microsoft. It's like, oh, let's see who could be the biggest saboteur of the year of their own business.
It's always going to be Microsoft. They're going to come in first. But Sony's not doing a bad job of coming in second. They're doing a pretty decent job of catching up, to be completely honest.
Yes, they are. I agree. So
that's why I couldn't just move right on and swiftly kick Microsoft in the head, which I still want to do. Trust me, I still want to kick them while they're down as well. But I needed to make sure Sony got its fucking just desserts as well, because I felt like you wanted to move on a little bit too easily from that and not really highlight just how poorly Sony has done this generation.
Oh, it is poor. Yeah. Not a understatement at all. It is much deserved, and yeah, they brought this all on themselves. Really.
Yep.
It's like they just kind of, it's almost like they just saw what Microsoft was doing and they're like, well, they're doing it, so it's good for us too. Yeah, that is just really poor.
It's just not smart. It's really not smart.
No, a huge waste of resources. Like Bluepoint, it's kind of one of those things like you even think about it, it's like, what would be perfect for Bluepoint? Oh, I don't know. Like a God of War trilogy remaster for the PlayStation, like something you may have just announced. Like like that's
or
the studio.
I don't know, maybe Bloodborne? Who would have fucking guessed?
Bloodborne?
The game that everyone's like, hey, this is gonna be the one. This is gonna be the PlayStation State of Play where they announced Bloodborne remake. You know who could have fucking made that? Bluepoint, you dipshits.
Yeah. Honestly, they don't even really have to dig that far down. Like, there's so many things. You could be like, oh, Infamous. Like, Infamous would be perfect for, like, remasters and things like that. I feel like people have been kind of craving those type of games. Yeah, there's just so many, like that's a studio where you literally could just make them self-sufficient, be like, all right, go through our library, start porting things over. Kind of like what Nintendo's been doing. I mean, they're not using any specific studios that I know of, but they've been like very regularly making upgrades to their back catalog and putting them on the back burner. So when they have this, a space in their release schedule, be like, all right, yeah, let's throw out fucking Skyward Sword Remastered with, new controls, or let's, do this other stuff that's been kind of lingering around on older systems. And yeah, it's total disappointment. So
yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's just a mess.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. Now you're ready. Now you're ready to shit on Microsoft too?
Oh, absolutely. Ready? Let's shit on Microsoft too. What did they do? They had someone that was that decided to retire, and then they took with them another person who feels like they've only been there for a week, to be completely honest.
Well, so here's the thing. So this is my theory on this. So there's news that Phil Spencer did not want to retire. He was told it's time to retire.
Get out.
Yeah. There's that. And then the other person who's also leaving, she's the one who apparently came up with the idea with like Xbox everywhere. That was her thing. She's the one that really apparently is the one to blame for basically killing the Xbox ecosystem. Like, just literally destroying it. Because once they, and it's like I said, as this was announced, as it was there, I was like, they're basically like, you have to have that kind of like that up cycle, like that kind of recycle event where it kind of keeps people in the ecosystem. You put new games in there that get people excited, and that gets people, up with their subscriptions. And then, you have your backlog of, your 30 studios. You keep putting more quality games in there, and then, that keeps that value there. It was a reasonable idea, and it was definitely possible. But once you kind of get rid of that incentive to keep people in that ecosystem, everything starts to crumble, because then you don't have the subscriptions to support the games that you're putting on it, which leads to less games going on it, which leads to less revenue, which leads to money loss, which leads to price increases, which leads to all the shit that we basically have seen over the last 2 years. They've made plenty of mistakes in that regard, on that thing. If you want my thought, I think that Phil Spencer had the right idea initially, where he was like, yeah, we need to get these studios, we need to get to this. His big mistake was he didn't hold the studios accountable, and was basically like, here's a blank check, make us a game, I don't give a fuck what it is. And then he would come back like 3 years later and be like, well, where's our game? Like, well, we haven't done anything yet. Be like, well,
And
what
then
the fuck
all the
have you
people
been
are
doing?
passed down the back from all the coke they've done and everything.
Yeah, and then he let them accumulate all these like big studios and all these big projects and squander that. Then you had the AI girl come in or whatever, and she and then it was Xbox everywhere, and then all that investment you put in those studios is now just kind of lost out into space. And I do think that a lot of the decisions recently, like the last 2 years, where we've really seen things start to decline, I think that probably came above Phil Spencer, where they're like, hey, you're spending all of this money, but you're not making any money, and you're not making any gains anywhere, and we need to see progress, which is not happening. And that is entirely on Phil Spencer. He's the one who drives the ship, and he's the one who sets in the right direction. And there was just not enough accountability for as big as they got to really make things work. And so they're gone. But the thing is, though, I don't, as much as like I'm like, oh, these people are gone, and there's gonna be new leadership and things. I'm not even sold that this is a good decision either. Because now you have the head of AI that's taking over Xbox.
Yep.
I think that this is going to get turned into like the biggest back burner project. It is going to basically, and this, for better or worse, this may end up just turning into like basically the Switch console or the Steam console.
I actually think it's going a different direction. I think this is going fully cloud-based and completely deleting the Xbox name from existence. I think that's what's going to happen. Yeah, I think they're going to go fully cloud-based with Game Pass and anything, and they're going to phase out their consoles, and they're going to phase out the Xbox brand. I think that's exactly what this AI person plans on doing. I think this is going to get much, much, much worse. And not better at all. I actually think this is, as people would say, this is actually going to be the death of the brand that is Xbox. They'll still have their gaming division, but it will probably be rolled into Windows gaming more so than Xbox, and the actual brand name of Xbox will be killed off slowly. Or it will all come at once very, very quickly. It's one or the other. But it's not going to not happen. That's what I'm saying.
Something is definitely going to happen on this side of things. So, yeah, it is. I still think my Xbox is on its like deathbed, and it is on its way out. I mean, really what they needed to do was kind of, keep things where they were going, I think, and just kind of, you could still kind of open up that ecosystem a little bit for big things, but it really should have been like mostly closed, put some crumbs out to get people in there, kind of wait out the next generation. And in the meantime, just, you have enough studios, you can bang out like the strongest launch lineup of all time if you really wanted to. But
the thing is, they put out in the last, I would say, 2 years, absolutely fantastic games that no one played until they came to like PlayStation.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, no one played them, and then funny enough, when they came to PlayStation, people played them a lot because Sony wasn't giving them games to play. So
You know what? Maybe Microsoft and Xbox and Sony should merge, and that would be the match made in heaven. Maybe that's what they're really missing. Um, yeah,
Microsoft should just become Sega and make games for other consoles. That's pretty much what should happen at this point.
yeah. At this point, that's probably their best bet. Um, yeah, because they definitely
Because
that's impressive.
okay, so let me just go over this, right? We
Mm-hmm.
got Forza Horizon a few years ago, like for the new Forza Horizon. We had the new Forza game, which was actually bad, but we had Forza Horizon 5. We got Forza
Mm-hmm.
Horizon 6 this year. There was South of Midnight, which was really good. You know that fucking Indiana Jones was phenomenal.
Yeah.
All of these games came out on Xbox,
Mm-hmm.
and no one played them on Xbox.
Yep. Um, yeah, except for me. I played Indiana Jones on the Xbox. So
Yeah, I did too. I did too.
mm-hmm. And I'm still
I mean,
very excited about it on the
I
Switch.
don't have an
So
Xbox now, but yeah, I played it when I had one.
yeah. I mean, I still have, my Xbox is not going anywhere because I like it for backwards compatibility because I have the X instead of the S with the drive, which I think is nice. But I mean, this is definitely my last Xbox system. So, which they end up going in the cloud. I guess that's fine, but I'm not planning on buying anything for them anymore, anyways. I'm just keeping around for the few things that I have for it. Because I mean, I have stuff like I've like all the Dead Space games downloaded on there. It's just kind of nice. I can just boot it up whenever I want. Um, and then my what is it? My Xbox One and some of the kind of more legacy games that I have for it, like Jurassic Park for the 360. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's really it. So uh, yeah, I don't know, but it's definitely the video game industry. I think is really like a chaos point, kind of with where it is right now. And there's just not a lot of stability with a lot of companies. So it'd be next gen is going to be very strange, and especially too because of all the delays. I mean, it's probably going to keep the Switch 2 relevant for a lot longer than people would expect. Kind of like what happened with the Switch 1. PlayStation 6 is going to come out later than expected, but honestly, I feel like they're underutilizing that system anyways, so it may not necessarily be a bad thing. Um, and maybe we'll give devs a chance to really optimize their games. I think the funniest thing, and I sent this picture to the group chat, but I think it was one of the Lego games, just like dramatically decreased the RAM requirements for I think it was like a Lego game from like 32 gigabytes to like 12 or something. And they're like, oh no, the RAM shortages are actually making developers optimize their games. And I was like, yeah, because it's like if someone runs into an issue with RAM on their computer for a game, it's not like you can just run out to the store. Like, how much money do you want to pay fucking Lego Star Wars?
Yep.
Yeah. So
I don't know if you've seen prices lately. Of
not
RAM.
within like
Like,
the last week or so, but I mean, I definitely see how egregious they can be.
how much is 16 gigs of RAM?
I don't know.
Let's see. 16 gigabytes of RAM. Okay. Oh my god, that's DDR4, isn't it? That's fucking DDR4. Okay. Let's go DDR5 because that's like. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So starting for 16 gigabytes of DDR5
Mhm.
is $230.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, not bad.
I'll take 5 or 6.
I have 32 gigs in mine. So you know what that means.
Hmm.
I have about $500 worth of RAM inside my computer.
I don't think I've ever been so thankful to get a new computer upgrade at the time that I did than
Same.
this.
Same,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I lucked out at the time because I think I bought this computer like almost exactly a year ago.
But yeah, RAM is just stupid overpriced right now. And it's
Mhm.
making it so no company can do whatever they want in the future. Which is probably by design. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully it gets better, but we shall see.
Somehow I doubt it.
Yeah, who knows? Anyways, what else do you want to talk about? Anything else?
I don't think we have anything else, do we?
Not that I have.
Okay.
All right. All right. So I guess let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Thank you everyone for listening to us tonight. Don't forget you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. All of our episodes are available on game-crunch.com. And if you want to send us an email, gamecrunchcast@gmail.com. Brandon,
Yes.
any final thoughts?
Nope.
All right.
Not at all.
Well, that's it. My name is Mike Anastasia. You can find me online. I am Clash of Penguin there, or on your favorite gaming console. And until next week, game on.
Game on.
Cracked screen glow on my face. Save room hum, empty space. Herb in my bag, hands still shake. Typewriter keys, one last break. Footsteps echo down the hall. Something breathing through the wall. Check the map, hard off beat. Every corridor repeat. Game on! In the mansion. Game on! Doors creak slow, but I keep moving on. Red key, blue key, locked in the dark. One more shot, one more spark. Game on! Every shadow. Game on! If I'm going out, I'm going strong. Dead I stare, but I play along. Game on! Game on! Moonlight cuts through broken glass. Portrait I strike as I pass. Puzzle pieces on the floor. Wrong turn right at the corpse-filled door. Heartbeat louder than the clock. Hear the scratch against the lock. Face the fear or turn and run. Either way, the night's not done. Game on! In the mansion. Game on! Doors creak slow, but I keep moving on. Red key, blue key, locked in the dark. One more shot, one more spark. Game on! Every shadow. Game on! If I'm going out, I'm going strong. Dead I stare, but I play along. Game on! Game on! Game on! Game on!
I didn't look for news. I don't remember there being anything this week really big.
I mean,
I mean, Pokemon. Pokemon. What's his name getting booted out of Xbox? Well, I guess there was a little bit more news this week.
Sony shot themselves in the foot, and then Microsoft shot themselves in the face. Remember?
Yeah, I mean that's how Microsoft's been for the last how many years at this point.
What was it that Sony did? Because I don't even remember now compared to what Microsoft did.
Close Blue Point. That's another
Oh
news
God,
thing from this week.
no, no. That's so sad.
Let me write all these down as I'm going through.
Yeah, close Blue Point. Then Microsoft was like, "We're just doing AI now."
Blue Point closed. Phil Spencer retires. I'm putting that in quotation mark. Pokemon Leaf Green Fire Red announced. Any other chaos this week? Let's see. I mean, that has to be all the big news.
I think so. I don't think there's anything else.
Zelda's 40th anniversary, but there's not really anything about that other than that it exists.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, it looks like those are the big things. Okay.
Apparently, that's not even news, I guess.
What?
I was gonna say one of the moments in oh god, my brain stopped working. Hold on 1 second. Oh yeah, people got a hold of Resident Evil 7 and 8, and apparently it works very, very well on Switch 2.
Yeah, reviews are coming out. Apparently, I saw Kotaku's quote today was something like "nearly flawless" was how they described it. So,
Mhm.
well, that's pretty reassuring.